In lesson 4.8, we're solving problems on a coordinate grid, part 1, a 2-part lesson. Make sure you have your whiteboard and your math journal with you. Let's go ahead and do a little warm-up. I want you to look at these benchmarks. Without actually solving the addition or subtraction problem, I want you to tell me would the answer be closest to 0, a half, 1 whole, 1 1/2, or 2. If I look at 3/5, that's a little more than a half, and 1/4 is less than a half. So together, a little more than a half and a little less than a half would have to be closest to 1. What do you think about the second one, 7/8 minus 5/6? Well, this is almost close to 1. This is almost close to 1. So what would the answer be closest to? To 0. Go ahead and erase your whiteboard. Try this problem. 3/8, you can number these number 1 and number 2. 3/8 plus 1 2/3 and 2 1/4 minus 3/4. Go ahead. Is it closest to 0, a half, 1, 1 1/2, or 2? Pause the video as needed. All right, well, if I look at adding something to 1 2/3, which is, actually more than 1 1/2, and then you're adding something that's close to a half. So this is close to a half, and this is close to 1 1/2. Together, it would be closest to 2. Number 2, 2 1/4 minus 3/4. This, I would say, would be closest to 1 1/2. All right, let's try 2 more here. 3/4 minus 2/10 and 1/9 plus 1/10. Well, 3/4 is more than a half and 2/10 is less than a half. So if we subtract it, I would say it's closest to a half. 1/9 plus 1/10 is pretty small. So I would either say close to a 0 or a half. Go ahead and grab your math journal. We're going to be using journal pages 134 and 135. So this part of the information is on page 134. The actual graphing of the points will be on page 135. So we're going to start by graphing the original points that are shown on page 134 that I have circled here. I also have them over here as well so you can see them. So you're going to graph on journal page 135, but open it so that you have page 134 visible as well. So let's go ahead and start plotting the first point, 8, 1. I'll cross them off as I finish them. Remember, we go over first and then up. So 8, 1 means we're going to go along here till we get to 8 and then go up 1. And then I'm going to cross that off. 5, 1, over 5 and then up 1. And it says to connect the points. So I'm going to connect them as I go. Let me start that again. 8, 1 and 5, 1. I'm going to connect those 2 points. Next one is 5, 7. Over 5, up 7. Over 5, up 7. Connect those 2 points and cross it off so you don't forget which ones you've already plotted. 1, 2, over 1, up 2. Connect the last point to the new point. Cross it off. Next point is 5, 1, over 5, up 1. Now notice there's a point already there. It's not necessary to draw that point again, but why it's there is so that we know to connect this last point with the point that we already plotted. And I cross that off. 0, 1, over 0, up 1. Connect that to the last point. 2, 0, over 2, up 0. Connect. 7, 0, over 7, up 0. Connect that to the last point. And lastly, 8, 1. We already have a point there, don't we? What it's doing is just telling us we need to connect those last 2 points. So I have an original sailboat. As you see on page 135, we are going to create this sailboat 3 more times. We're going to make it taller, we're going to make it wider, we're going to make it thinner. So we're going to use the information on page 134 to draw the new sailboat. So now I'm looking at these numbers here. There's a rule that we have to pay attention to, and we're going to solve that rule right now. It says double each number of the original pair. So let's go ahead and do that before we even start plotting the points. So we're going to double each number. So 8 gets doubled to 16. 1 gets doubled to 2. 5 gets doubled to 10. 1 gets doubled to 2. Or think about it by multiplying by 2. So let's go ahead and fill this out. The next set is right here. 1 doubled is 2. 2 doubled is 4. Next, 5 doubled is 10. 1 doubled is 2. Now, if 0 is doubled, nothing happens. It stays 0. And if 1 is doubled, it is 2. Next, 2 doubled is 4. 0 doubled is 0. 7 doubled is 14. 0 doubled is 0. And lastly, 8, 1. 8 doubled is 16. 1 doubled is 2. Now we have all of the points that we need to go ahead with the next set. So the new sailboat, let me just write these in. You should have them there. 2, 4, 10, 2, 0, 2, 4, 0, 14, 0, and 16, 2. Okay, again, remember this is on page 134. This is on page 135. So the first one, remember, we're not plotting these anymore. So the first one is 16, 2. So over 16, up 2. Cross it off. Next one, 10, 2. Over 10, up 2. Let's connect those. Cross it off. Otherwise, you'll forget if you plotted that point or not. Next one, over 10, up 14. Sometimes I use my finger to follow along. And then cross it off. Next one, 2, 4, over 2, up 4. Cross it off. 10, 2. Over 10, up to 2. That's a point we've already plotted, but it wants me to connect them, and that's why that point is there again. Next one, over 0, up 2. Connect it, cross it off. 4, 0, over 4, up 0. Connect. 14, 0, over 14, up 0. Notice that we're just enlarging our sailboat. And 16, 2. Again, we plotted that point. They just want us to connect it. So new sailboat is taller and wider. Let's go back to our original. Now what we're going to do is ignore sailboat number 1, and now we're going to go to sailboat number 2. The rule is to double the first number of the original pair and leave the second number the same. All right, so let's go to our original. 8, 1, we're just doubling the first one, 16, 1. So go ahead and let's go down to the fourth one, 1, 2. We're going to double 1, so 2, 2. Now let's double 5, 10, and we leave the second one the same. 0, 1. 0 doubled is still 0, 1. Next, 2, 0. Let's double 2, which is 4. Keep 0 the same. Next one, 7, 0. 7 doubled is 14. Keep the second one the same. And 8, 1. Double 8, which is 16. Keep 1 the same. So now we're going to use these coordinates on sailboat number 2. So let me fill those in really quick. Sailboat number 2 is 2, 2, 10, 1, 0, 1, 4, 0, 14, 0, 16, 1. Okay, let's start with the first one. 16, 1, over 16, up 1, cross it off. 10, 1, over 10, up 1, connect it with the last point, cross it off. 10, 7, over 10, up 7, connect, cross off. Next one, over 2, up 2, connect, cross off. 10, 1, we already have a point there, but it wants us to connect, cross it off. Next one, 0, 1, over 0, up 1. So we have a very wide sailboat. Cross it off. Over 4, up 0. Connected to the last point. 14, 0, over 14, up 0. And lastly, 16, 1. That's a point we've already plotted. It just wants us to connect that. So our new sailboat number 2. Let's go back to the very last one. We have sailboat number 3. Sailboat number 3. The rule is to double the second number of the original pair, leave the first number the same. So they've done the first 3 for us. Now let's look at 1. Keep that the same, and then double the second one. Double 2 is 4. Next set, 5, 1. Leave 5 the same, double 1 to get 2. 0, 1. 0, 1. Keep the 0 the same, double 1 to get 2. 2, 0. Keep the 2 the same, double 0. We'll keep it at 0. 7, 0. Keep the first one the same, double 0, still 0. If you have nothing and you double it, you still have nothing. 8, 1. Keep the 8 the same and double 1 so you get 2. Now let's draw the last sailboat. I'm going to go ahead and fill these in. 1, 4, 5, 2, 0, 2, 2, 0, 7, 0, 8, 2. Okay, first of all, let's plot. Remember, we're not plotting those anymore. 8, 2, over 8, up 2, cross it off. 5, 2, over 2, over 5, up 2, connect it to the last point, cross it off. 5, 14, over 5, all the way up to 14. Follow it with your finger if need be. It should go straight up from the last point. Next one, 1, 4, over 1, up 4, connect it to the last point, cross it off. 5, 2, one of those points that we have already plotted. Just connect those 2 points then. 0, 2, over 0, up 2. Connect the point. 2, 0, over 2, up 0, connect. 7, 0, over 7, up 0, connect. And 8, 2, we already have that point plotted. We just need to connect those points. Now we have a much taller, narrower sailboat. Actually pretty fun to plot points or use our coordinate grid. Remember that you'll be taking a picture of these pages and uploading it to Schoology.